What is up, guys? Without planning anything, I decided to drive to my hometown, which is supposed to be about an hour and 40-ish minutes away from where I live, but I swear, I departed my current residence like at 10:30-ish. I remember vividly seeing 10:32 when I was still like on one of my main streets. And then I kept looking at the clock and looking at the clock and looking at the clock. And I'm like, is time just not moving? How am I so close to my hometown? I could see the sign that said I'm 63 miles away, and then another one that said I'm 37 miles away. And I'm like, I'm still in the 10 a.m. range. What is happening? And I swear I was driving by the speed limit. I remember going like 10 miles over at some point because I wanted to go a little faster to avoid this truck traffic that I was seeing merging. So I said, I want to be ahead of those guys, not behind them. I guess I finally decided to succumb to my impulse of conducting this trip because I've been doing a lot of that. I've been going back and visiting places that I have memories of, within reach, of course, whether they're painful memories or good memories and stuff. I said to myself, I've been driving for like 8 years now, but I just feel like I haven't had freedom. I have never driven in my hometown, actually. So for me to be driving and doing this and then remembering my way so far, but seeing more modernized, say, street signs and everything, has been quite the experience. I'm about to holler to one of my teachers and see if she's available, and I would love to just greet her and maybe fill her in briefly, depending on what her situation is. But that is one person I have always wanted to see. Is my music teacher. If you guys have watched me for a long time, I have mentioned her before as one of the most influential ones. I would love to at least hug her, say hi, let her know that I'm still alive. It's not a drill, it's actually me messaging you. But anyways, but before I do that, I'm going to go to a park that used to be right next to the last apartment I lived at. It's crazy. So much that I remember about this place. But yeah, I'm gonna go to that little park and maybe film something so that you guys get to see that, yes, I do go outside, even though it doesn't look like it. I don't live in my car. Not that you guys are saying anything about that, but I know that I went from my setup in my room with all my pictures in the background to go into my brother's room and then mostly doing car vlogs now. But also, I really do it because the lighting is so much better when I'm outside. This weather has been tripping me because it definitely looks like it's going to snow, but it's too warm for that. So anyway, I'll continue you guys with this journey. One of the things that I remember about this park that used to turn me off was the fact that I didn't have like a little path to follow to get to the trail. So I had to walk over this grass and make it work. But yeah, you guys, what's surreal to me is that, without kidding you, sometime in the past week, I had a thought about me walking on this park. But then I said, that's impossible because I live so far away and I cannot just pick up and go. But I had no idea that one of those thoughts was actually that I was going to be doing this. That has been happening to me a lot, which is I think about something, I think of a place, and I'm like, more than likely, I'm never in my life going back there. But it turns out that here I am. I pictured this happening on a sunny day, so I guess I was wrong about that. But I just had the memory of the trail. So it's definitely rained here, and I'm proud of that because where I'm at, we haven't seen rain in weeks. It's pretty damp and chilly. I'm definitely not dressed for this weather, and it's eerily quiet. Like, I can hear myself being extremely loud, but this is definitely not the season to be out doing this type of stuff, you know, which is where I thrive, you know, avoiding people. But yeah, I'll continue to give you a story. This is where I actually met my second boyfriend for real, because I knew him from school, but we weren't actually friends. Like, I knew his face, I knew who he was, but we had not really talked. And the reason we were in sort of close circle is because he was friends with one of my friends. That's how we connected. But most of our chatting took place over Facebook. And we were messaging and messaging and messaging for months. And then we decided that when school is out, we would hang out. And he was living in another state at the time. But he came back to finish like the last 2 years of school back here. And then at some point we met up, and I guess you could say this was like our first date. And I'm like, dude, I always saw you sitting down. I had no idea that you were actually this fucking tall. So I felt lied to, which, I mean, taller guys are awesome, but I just was under the impression that we were the same height, but we weren't. And I remember standing in one of those, maybe it was this one, it had to be that one. I remember standing on that because I felt so freaking short next to him. And I'm not one of those people who's intimidated by people's heights, but I'm telling you, it just caught me off guard. I remember this. One time I was super depressed, and I was walking around here with my first boyfriend, and I was so mad that I started punching this until my hand turned like greenish, and I had cuts and I was bleeding a little bit. I just remember that I was mad. I wasn't mad at him. It was just like my depression shit. And I just remember punching this and punching this, and then I remember him grabbing my hand to stop me. And then there's that little creek meandering over there that looks like a snake, an anaconda, like that right there. But it isn't. Because contrary to what some of you all may believe, I actually do not live in the Amazon. Now this is where it does turn into a dirt road. And unfortunately, I did not come dressed for that, so I'm gonna have to owe it to you guys. But let me see if I follow the opposite direction, if I can make it to a path that's not as sandy. But for real though, it's so quiet. So quiet. One of the things that stands out to me is the smell. I remember the smell. I actually did not come out to this park as often as I wanted to. And I guess you could call it one of my more obvious symptoms of depression. I used to really struggle with my weight, self-image, and on the summers, I didn't like the heat. But even in the winter, it's not like I was coming out here and doing anything. But although I lived like within the pathway to this park, I always told myself I'm gonna start getting up in the mornings and going for runs and jogs because I want to lose weight. I want to look good. I want to feel good. But I never could. I never motivated myself to do this. I used to beat myself over the fact that I wasn't being physically active. And now that I'm actually here, now that I'm not close to this park, it just goes to show how your own mind plays with you. But I mean, I was young. I gotta remember to be kind to myself. Another thing I remember is that right on the street that's like, okay, here's the park, cross the street, going through all of those trees, there is a gym, and that gym had an indoor pool. It was always my dream to go there to swim because I really love swimming. And I remember telling my dad about it, and he was like, yeah, gym membership would be really good. It's good for your health and stuff, but there is just no fucking way that I could have asked my mom, me, someone who has never been athletic, to do that. But maybe if I would have had that and I realized the sacrifice that she's performing by affording this membership. I had no idea how much it cost back then. I didn't know anything. I just knew that the chances were I was going to be told no, so I didn't even want to try. But maybe had I told mom, she always tried to find a way to say yes. Maybe she would have talked to my dad. But if my dad wasn't offering right there and then maybe he just needs to be prompted to think about those things. You need to like tell him directly what you want, and then maybe he would do something. Or I don't know, guys. I don't know. And I was wrong. It turns out that this leads back to the dirt road. Even though this is my hometown, like I feel like it isn't, because I've been away from here for like a decade now. The reason there's no one out here is because it's rained and stuff. But I'm like, well, as a non-local, I get to do what I want. So I reached out to my teacher while I was walking, and I'm gonna check if I got a response from her. So far, I have had no luck, no response. My hands are super freaking cold, but I deserve it because I decided to leave my little gloves in my car. I didn't think it would feel this cold, but I gotta remember, I'm walking, I'm creating wind, I guess, that's hitting me. But whatever, it's okay. I have trained for this kind of weather and terrain. I'm tougher than I look. But it's interesting because what I did do when I used to live out here, now I'm remembering, is that I have taken pictures of me being here when I was younger and smaller. Even though I was smaller, I was still fat. You just keep growing. And one of the things I've noticed is like my hands. They've looked kind of the same, but I can tell that they're big and long versus when I was a kid. And they are objects that I used to grasp when I was younger. And now when I hold them, it's like, how is it that my hand covers all of this, you know? Whereas before it didn't. So, yeah. Yep. But one of the things that I'm grateful for is the fact that I can do this. Like, I'm physically fit to where I can walk and talk at the same time and not be out of breath. Which the last time I was here, I could taste that little taste that happens when you suffer from asthma. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, you get like this weird lightheaded feeling. That thing jumped out of nowhere. Lightheaded feeling in your head, and you start tasting something funny. It's some kind of phlegm, I guess. And I just remember feeling lightheaded as heck. That's one of the things I'm grateful for, that I can go anywhere, climb anything, be out for prolonged periods of time and not suffer. Whereas before, I had to go extremely slow and be extremely calm, or else I would get sick faster. I dropped my phone, and it's so sad because I first caught it, but I didn't have a grip on it, and then I ended up slapping it to where it flew out of my hands. And you saw how the path looks like, you know, all wet and kind of muddy, whatever, but it didn't get too dirty. What I was gonna say is I walked for a few minutes, you know, just in total silence, just thinking, breathing, and for starters, I have an appreciation for how clean the air is. All these trees help, of course, but also I'm right next to a highway. But I was thinking about how the last time I was here, I wasn't the happiest person in the world. Today, I'm still not the happiest person in the world. I don't think I'll ever be. I don't shoot for that. That's not my goal. But what I'm saying is that how I experienced my deep sadness back then versus the sadness that I'm combating and carrying now. Being here though, and remembering how my life was back then, where I felt hopeless and had no drive, no motivation, no desire for anything, versus how I feel that presently, which some of those feelings are still there. I'm grateful for what I have now that is helping me that I didn't have back then. And an example of that would be like my car, which back then I kept telling myself, if only I had a way to get out of here and not be stuck with mom's schedule, this, that, and the other. But yeah, I'm just gonna take a vid of trees overhead because you never get to walk with your neck bent upward to see what happens above you. But I'm here to show you. All right. I made it back to my vehicle and I rinsed my hands a little bit with that one backup water that I always carry for situations like this. And yeah, I was right. My teenage self was right about thinking, well, if I had certain things, I would feel better. Had I had a car back then, I would have driven just because you guys, I have not been able to show you because I don't know how to show you, but driving means so much to me. I cannot explain it. Maybe it's because my brother says that he's a better pilot than he is driver, which is true. And my dad is like better at the sea than flying, possibly. He's definitely a good ass driver. But then me personally, I know I'm never gonna fly and never gonna steer a ship because I really don't care. I would probably fly before I try messing with vessels. I just feel it in me. Every time I sit here, whether I'm going to work or whatever, I still treat this seat like I'm sitting on it for the first time. And the only difference is that the more experience I get, just like with everything in life, I get more confident. Maybe my depression would not have hit me so bad if I would have sensed the freedom that having a car gives. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, I hate my parents because they didn't give me that stuff. Well, particularly mom, because you guys know that my dad has never been in the picture. I don't resent that. I'm just sad about how sad I was back then. And now I am looking back at the stuff that I used to tell myself would make me happy and just make me feel hopeful about life and wanting to live. Because let's face it, around this time is when I was thinking about not being alive anymore. But now I'm here and I'm just grateful for this because the bad experiences that I have had recently, especially in the last 2-3 weeks, it's been really trying. But now this helps me see that there's a world out there. And I often forget in the moment that I'm experiencing the pressure that's bringing me down, I forget that what I'm going through is just a very small, like almost unmeasurable, small part of the planet, part of the world. Like my issues are not as big as they seem. They're just as big as they seem in my mind because I'm trying to build my own little home, my own little circle, whatever. But being back here and remembering how my life was versus how it is now, I just want to tell all of the kids out there who are struggling, especially struggling like I was. You were lonely as fuck, which I still am. The severity with which I experienced it back then, a job can make things better. I can tell you that much. Especially if you work somewhere that you belong. Like it's part of your, let's call it your social class, your social level. I didn't work back then, possibly because I just wouldn't have had a way to make it anywhere. I just remember that I had absolutely zero social skills and zero social life. And by social skills, I mean that I was just way too anxious in social settings at all. I have always been this kind of person, like the deep thinker, the person who like breaks things apart. You ask me a question and I can expand on it. I've always been that way since, I think that started for me when I was in middle school. What I'm saying is that even if I would have gotten that social stimulation, kids my age were not interested in the same things that I was interested in. And the few folks I had something in common, it was over video games, which I'm grateful for. But at the same time, I wanted to have something a little more meaningful because I know that video games are not the key to life. You know, there's much more happening in life than that. I wanted meaningful, significant bonding. And I just knew that people my age could not give me that. And that's why I avoided them. And now that I'm older and I'm starting to find myself surrounded by people my age, especially people at my job, I told myself that just this year, all of my managers are around my age. Like the eldest is 5 years older than me, which is the same age as my brother. My brother is a month and 5 days older than this guy. I'm like, wow, I am surrounded by my generation who I had avoided, but particularly more the folks who are from my exact year, birth year, because, when you go to school, it's either someone is a year ahead of you or you're the exact same age. But now it's like my generation is freaking cool. And I'm glad that we have all aged to have the maturity that makes me feel comfortable about making those social moves. Back then, in that period of immaturity and growth and all that, that made me anxious. But now that I'm older and grown and we have all kind of mellowed out, this is my prime time. And I'm just grateful to see that my generation is actually a good one. Every generation has the potential of being a good one. But when I was growing up, I thought kids my age give me so much anxiety. Hopefully that makes sense. So my car is actually due for service really soon. I have set an appointment for Friday. And I did this trip before checking the car. I trust it. I am pretty religious about doing maintenance on it. But I have been thinking about that. I'm like, let me get pretty much close to the next service mileage range that my sticker has. And my light was already flashing the maintenance required light. I'm not worried. It'll be okay. I'm definitely going to get gas because I did this trip on half a tank. I just had a random thought. How much is rent at this place now? Because when I lived here, by the standards of those days, it was dirt cheap. That means that my little part-time ass could probably afford this place comfortably at my current rate. Let me look it up. For some reason, I got on Apartment Finder and I was looking for this place and I saw all kinds of addresses, all kinds of info about every single place except this place. But it looks like it's about the same price as what I pay, maybe about $120 cheaper. But it has gone up. If I remember correctly, the amount that mom used to pay for this place back in the day, it has gone up by around $300, which where I have lived at for the past 7 years, it has gone up by about the same amount. Stupid capitalism. Stupid. It's insane. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can remember my way around town. I'm gonna drive by my high school, drive by my first apartment place that we ever lived at out here, and then visit my middle school, which I remember what it looks like, that street, that road, but I'm not sure I know how to get to it off the top of my head. I'll let you guys know. But so far, that's another thing. So far, I have come all this way out here with no GPS, none whatsoever. And I haven't been out here for a decade, so I'm proud. I've been recognizing certain places, so that's how I'm surviving. But looking out the window when you're a driver versus when you're a passenger is different. So, but anyway, let's get rolling. I also need to get gas. I did not plan for this trip, but this is definitely gonna be like a $80 trip with refueling. But it's okay. That's what I work for, to do the things that I like. People in this fucking town do not believe in using the blinker. I have only seen one car, besides mine, using it. Why? Oh, I'm starting to remember why this town was sucking the life out of me. Never been there. That's never been there. That used to be a pizza place. That used to be a Sonic. It's gone. So I missed the entrance to my first ever apartment. Prior to making it here, I was feeling that anxiety. Here's the bus stop. I got bullied so much in here. I hated it. The apartment was sweet and nice and great, and I loved school and everything, but my bitch ass neighbors were crazy as fuck. Ugh! I was so happy when I got out of here. Now to be back, it all looks the same. Some things look slightly more modern. Oh, I remember all them fucking bitches. All them girls who always tried to like bully me. This is the one time that I ever got suspended in school. I got in a fight with this girl at my bus stop, and then, you know, I reported it. I said, this bitch just hit me and I hit her back, and what the school did was suspend both of us. And I'm like, did you want me to be cadaverous so that I wouldn't suffer any consequences? All I did was defend myself. What was I supposed to do? Just take the hit and hope she doesn't kill me? Damn. Like, the education system and judicial system in this goddamn country is terrible. But anyway, now that I'm here, I'm just happy that I live far away from here. And hopefully them bitches either have left as well, or I will never see them again. And if I see them again, they might recognize me, but I may not recognize them. And the reason I say that is because I haven't changed much. The only thing that I have improved is that my face, as it matured, and I reshaped my eyebrows and picked better glasses, and know how to fix my hair, my appearance has improved with age compared to them days. But I still dress the same. Right now I'm wearing sweatpants and a jacket, which is literally what I used to wear when I was going to school. So one of the things I would get bullied for is the way I dressed. I was called lame and ugly and all that. Unfortunately, those kinds of things never really affected me because I knew and I accepted that I was ugly. I didn't need you to tell me. And I think that what made them mad was the fact that the words they were saying were not affecting me. Perhaps not having the effect in me that they wanted for me to experience. And that's how I know I'm a winner. I haven't been here since I was like 11-ish years old. That is a long time. Long time. Long time. Around the corner is my high school. Let's go see my high school. I'm trying to remember the way to get to my middle school. I think it's the opposite direction. But so far, I have not GPSed my way to anything. It's freaking amazing because my mom never remembers her way to anywhere. But I'm not her. Okay, so I'm looking at my school. I can see my music building from here. And wow. I remember my junior year was when my, I guess, school anxiety / depression was getting better. Like, it was kind of ending. But I remember that I used to wait out here for about 2 hours for my mom to pick me up because she worked in a different city and I didn't have any friends. And some of my friends only rode the bus because their parents didn't really have a way of driving anybody. I used to sit out there for like 2 hours. Scariest times in my life because I was alone. It was cold. I couldn't be inside the building because everybody was gone. Teachers legally cannot give you a ride either, which is sad because I was tight with all of my teachers and they all were like, I'm so sorry, Zam, but I just can't do it. I would love to. On 2 occasions, one of my teachers did take the risk of giving me a ride, but the reason she did that is because she had a daughter who went to the school as well, and even though she was my teacher, she could pass it as, oh, this is my daughter's friend, we're hanging out, I'm giving her a ride. But had it not been for that teacher saving me like 2 times, it's sad. Like, I'm just sad. It sucked so bad for me because of my circumstances, but I'm not mad at anybody. I can't blame anybody. It's no one's fault. It's just the way things were for me, because I was poor as shit. You know, I didn't have any resources and no family, so like I'm just happy that my life got better. I believed it would. I gave myself the chance. I was patient. I did not continue to harm myself and all that, because I had faith that one day I would look back and think, I survived. It was going to be okay. All I needed was to focus on my goals, which was I wanted a car. I got the exact car I wanted. A better version. I got the one from the following year of the model that I said, I want that car. What can I say? Every kid out there, if you're suffering, I'm telling you, it gets better. It doesn't matter how depressed you are. Just please be patient. Get your job anywhere. Just work, be patient. Everything's gonna be okay, and you'll get through it. I promise you. It may take long. Don't feel pressured by how long it takes or where other people are at compared to you. Fuck that. Just focus on you and don't give up. This is coming from someone who legit didn't think was going to live to see like her 20th birthday or something. That bad. That's how I felt. So anyway, I believe I'm on the road now that takes me to my middle school. Let me see how right I am. Man, one of the things that makes me a sad ass cookie is that I remember a time when anybody, absolutely anybody, could walk into a school and go anywhere and be like, oh, I'm just visiting, and it would be fine. But with all these school shootings and stuff, that's been ruined. I remember when graduates used to come up to school and just show up, and the teachers would be like, oh, this person graduated last year, this person graduated 4 years ago and is in college or just finished college. Now schools are so heavily fortified, which it makes me mad, because I'm thinking I don't get to have that experience. I don't get to just go up somewhere and visit. I'm being robbed of that experience. In a sense, that's kind of the thing that makes me not come out here more often and feel motivated to visit. Yep, this is my middle school. Yep, I remember the soccer field. Man, this reminds me of how out of shape I was, because we used to have to do laps for a health class and I could never run. I never could. Everybody from before, like my generation, got to stop by and visit and hang out with teachers and stuff, but I don't get to do that. That experience for me is not an option. It's non-existent. So hell yeah, I'm salty about that. It's all right. And besides, even if I wanted to stop by and visit, some of my teachers were already like retirement age or talking about retiring. So even if I could stop by and visit, I have visited the website of my high school. Let me tell you, I did not recognize all but like 2 names that were in the list. So in a sense, I don't have really much to come back for. And that makes me sad. I'm grateful for Facebook, but the truth of it is that even if I were to stop at school, some of my teachers have either moved to another place or retired altogether, and possibly retired and moved. It's so many factors that come into play. Something I must absolutely non-negotiably visit is the Walmart. We used to have 2 Walmarts. The first Walmart was one of them Walmarts that's not Supercenter, but this is way before neighborhood Walmarts were a thing. I have to find that Walmart Supercenter, and if you wanted to incidentally stumble upon someone you knew, Walmart was the place to go in this fucking town that had nothing. I'm gonna go visit it, see if it looks like what I remember it looking like. And I remember that that entire road further ahead, it was under construction when I left. So I want to see what the final road project looks like now that it's definitely completed and even aged. But that freaking Walmart, I'm gonna stop by, I'm gonna get off, I'm gonna walk it, and see if it looks inside how I remember. It used to look brown, but most Walmarts I be seeing these days have remodeled to look like white and gray. It just looks like a prison camp. Let me see if I can connect by going this way. I think I can, because I'm not going through the same road that I came from. I'm taking another one. They should connect to Main Street. But yeah, you guys, oh, that McDonald's, yep, yeah, I'm on Main Street. This McDonald's would be lit. This is where some people would go get their breakfast. If you were a car rider in school or a driver, then of course, you could go anywhere. I didn't have that option. And that dreadful grocery store still exists. Wow. But yeah, you guys, it's so different. Like the way I view the world now versus back then as a teen. My priorities were stay in school. And I never understood what it meant for people to say stay in school. I'm like, it's so easy. It's my duty, my responsibility. Why do we have so many dropouts? How does that happen? I never understood, but now that I have talked to people, explored that, talked to people who dropped out and got GEDs and stuff, I'm like, I had it pretty good. Even though I was poor as shit and suffering with my own issues emotionally, I'm glad that it wasn't worse. It could have been so much worse. And I have known and understood that. But to actually experience some of it through other people's eyes, through the people who actually went through that, it's just different. You know? So yeah, wow. Wow. Just wow. They have one of those here now? Fuck me. Oh, my second apartment. It was here somewhere. Let me see if I remember how to get there. I see that, yeah, that building. I have to make a right somewhere here. I have to make a right here. Maybe this connects. I don't see why it wouldn't. But yeah, my second apartment, it was cool. I loved it. I happen to have the fortune of pretty much every apartment except my first one. I've always lived on the corner. But this apartment, it was so cool. It was so awesome. I was so happy for 2 years until someone fucking broke into my place and took everything valuable, especially electronics. And we always knew and suspected that it was our goddamn neighbor who did it, because as soon as we called the police and I started telling them the name of my suspect, like I didn't even have to finish saying the name. The cop finished it for me. And I'm thinking, if you know this, why aren't you taking the action? And I swear to God, that vehicle, I almost recognized as the people who were living here 15 years ago when I was here. So, wow. This place has like a little open field right there to the right. It's kind of hilly, whatever. But when I was a kid, it looked massive to me. And I always wanted to go out there and just play. Maybe practice a sport I'd never been good at, which is soccer. And maybe like obtain my ability. Somehow obtain the ability to have a freaking ball between my feet. But I never could. One spring, I always told myself during spring, I'm gonna come out here and just do it. I wanna run. I've always had this energy and this feeling and desire of running and doing things, but I just never had the way to be physically engaged like that. So deep down, I guess, I've always been an athlete. I just never had the chance to explore it and do something with it. But now that I'm older and, you know, I do the gym and I can do it without ever getting tired and all that, it's like, what would have been of my life had I, first of all, discovered that, had been inspired for that, and just practiced that stuff? Just what would I be today? Or where would I be today? But I wasn't invested on, and I didn't know that I had that in me. To me, all I knew about myself physically is I am fat, I have asthma, I can't run, but I never understood why. Like, that it actually takes effort and building up to be good at those things. I just looked at it as I was not born for this, period. Okay, so where the original first known supercenter Walmart is at, it's now a clothing store, and next to it is another clothing store, and then that one supermarket is still there. Yeah. And then some store I don't even recognize. I don't even know what that is. Here's my banking institution. If I need money, I know where to come to. Wow. People really suck at driving here. Good grief. Smoothie. Okay, the gym that opened up here, it is not where I thought it would be, based on the picture I saw. Based on what I imagined. I just assumed it would be here on Main Street. But it isn't, and that's okay. I wonder if gas is cheaper here. I haven't really noticed. Let's see. Maybe it's here. Nah, here's the Walmart that I'm talking about. Okay. Wow, this place is pretty packed. I mean, I'm telling you, this is the place to go. Gas here is mad cheap. Holy shit, that is exciting. It's almost like 60 cents cheaper than where I'm coming from. So cool. That's a big deal. I may actually afford to go back home. And I also work tomorrow. Okay, some restaurants are still there that I remember, and the Walmart externally still looks the same. And there's still that gaming store. I'm not even gonna fight for a parking spot here. I'm going to just pick a row, and well, at least I want to be closer to the door. Oh, I remember thinking people were zombies in this town. I gotta remember that it's a weekday and most young people are working. So just like in the city I live now, it's nothing but old people. And I don't say that with hate. I'm just saying that that's what I'm observing. It's just kind of weird. It can get weird if I let it get weird. All right, I'm gonna stop and then come back if I have anything remarkable to say. Well, there is a Toyota right across the street, so if I need help, I know where to go. Okay, so I spent about 5-6 minutes walking the perimeter of the store. It does look the same as I remember. The only difference is the implementation of that pickup fucking orange chute thing that they have. The greeter was really cool. It was an older guy. He definitely had energy with what he was doing, which surprised me because I remember this town being so freaking dead, you know, like this town has no soul. But I was happy to see, now that I have the eyes of a customer service worker, that he has energy for the job. And mind you, this was an older guy. So I thought, thank you, you know, nice to see you, good morning. And when I was on my way out, same thing. He acknowledges everybody. He acknowledges the people coming in and the people coming out. I'm telling myself, that's inspiring. I wish I had that level of energy at acknowledging every single soul when I'm at my job, because let's face it, I don't do so well with that. But the reason I chuckle is because people's attires. This is not a college town. There isn't even a close by campus. I want to say that you have to go 2 cities away, 2 towns away, something like that, to make it to the nearest legit campus. But we do have a community college here. But it was so funny to see people wearing sweatshirts and t-shirts of a college that, since I have left this place, I really haven't seen much of. Because remember, I live I don't know the distance from where I come from that I live now and here, but it's incredible how much, although the landscape doesn't really change that much, like the scenery, it's still the same fucking road. There's nothing but trees, farmland. But in some places, there's more farmland than others because you're deeper in the country. And then there are places that you're in the outskirts of a city. So like no fucking farmland there. It's crazy that it didn't dawn on me that the college that this place would support is not talked about at all where I come from. But instead, there's like a different branch, I guess, of that college, but their colors are different. So now I am seeing the color that corresponds to this side of the state versus the side of the state that I live at, and like it's just mind-blowing to me. So I did not see any familiar faces, but the thing about this town is that people know who you are. It's not a super small town. Like it's not like, wow, there's only 100 people here, nothing like that. But I could feel people looking at me like, you know, who are you, what are you? And I definitely look different. And I'm not talking trash about the people here, but remember, this is not a college town. So I guess for someone who looks kind of college-ish like me, and I'm kind of fit, and everybody else around here really isn't. Yeah, I come from a city, and it's not even a big city, but I can tell that the values of this town are not like mine. Unless you're like a kid in school doing sports or something, this place does not really support your fitness. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not going to continue, even though I want to, because I am not an ambassador of fitness, but I'm just saying that people don't look like me. That's it. And please do not think that I'm looking at this like I'm superior. I am not. I'm just remembering that I struggled with my body. And now I'm observing that, critically thinking, this place does not support my goal that I had at the time, which was to feel better, look better, be fit. But now that I have matured, I can make that connection. Oh my God, you guys, I have been spending almost $40 on premium gas where I live. Here, I only spent $27, a $13 difference, which I anticipated because I was almost at empty. And I believe this is a car of 13 gallons. So I said, it'll be about maybe $10 difference, but gas is almost free here. That is the one thing that I miss about not being in a more rural area. But I got my gas. Heck yeah. And the thing did not even shut off on its own. I stopped it because I got tired. And I did happen to be like at full already. That's where I'm at. I wish I would have shown you where I was at before, but I was like about halfway to empty. So yeah, I needed juice. So I just drove by my first boyfriend's house, and I had initially made a wrong turn because I was like, man, why is this so much more far than I remember? One of the things that pained me about my adolescence was that my boyfriend, not only was he my boyfriend, but he was literally the only person, the only friend that I had, and I was deprived of seeing him. And that hurt me so deep, so bad, because I happened to have found a soul my age who I was getting along with. But I felt like my mistake was telling my mom and other people that he was my boyfriend, that we liked each other. You know, we were like 14, 15 years old. But man, being deprived of seeing him was just painful because he was the only social activity I ever had. But now that I have driven this way and I can think about leaving from home and doing this drive, he lived like it's like the next county from where I stayed. And I remember this drive when we were allowed to hang out, and it felt like it was far. And and especially as teenagers who don't drive, even farther. But now that I have done this drive, I can see why mom maybe wouldn't feel like it, but sometimes her excuse was, oh, it's too far, which I'm not going to debate that. But then on top of that, she began layering her excuses. Then she began to say things like, well, you have to understand that sometimes it's not appropriate. And I never got to sleep over at his place. Like, never, ever, ever, ever. And he got to sleep over, that I can recall, just once. And then I thought, I mean, why am I deprived of sleeping over? Why can I not have a normal life as a kid, as a teen? Like, I hear my friends in school, like my classmates, talking about who they hung out with, where they were at, and their parents were chill and cool. I was the only bitch who didn't have that. But looking back, now I understand that mom's behavior is the result of her goddamn anxiety. That she was just alone, being overprotective, which, hey, I'm grateful that I was overprotected and not neglected physically. Emotionally, I was definitely not well taken care of. But at the time, as a teen, I didn't know that's what was happening to me. I can draw that conclusion now, that I can be honest with myself and have a clearer mind, understand and piece it together based on my own personal experiences. But yeah, this drive definitely can get annoying. And I just remember my chest, I can almost feel it again now. My chest tightening when I was leaving his place after dropping him off. And then this drive was just painful and awkward, and sometimes I would cry because I'm like, here I go, another lonely week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. When will I see him again? So here's the house again. They moved out. It's definitely owned by different people. They moved out a long time ago. I think they moved out around the time that I left too. But they lived closer to the town that I went to school. And on top of that, he used to go to a different school because he's in this county. So it's not like, oh, well, I can see him in school. No. The way that I met him was at a birthday party of our parents were friends from work. So then that girl's birthday party, I happened to go to the same school that girl went to, and we also had one class in common. So that birthday, that's when we met. And then at another occasion, we also met up. We were kind of a couple, definitely a couple. I can't say kind of, definitely a couple. The next time that we saw each other, because we were messaging. Our relationship pretty much started off online. I don't remember how the attraction communication began, but I just remember saying, I think I really like you, dude. Like, I like talking to you. When I come back home from school to get on this fucking desktop computer, all I look forward to is a message from you, or me messaging you first and telling you about my day. Dude, you're all I have, this, that, and the other. And in a sense, he made me feel like, outside of this one other friend he had, who he went to school with, but he was a little older, we had nobody else in our lives. So we bonded a lot over philosophy. He's exactly the way I am. He would ask me a random question about, what do you think about this and that about life? And then our conversations would get deep. And I said, you are the only person outside mom who I can have this kind of deep discussion with. And I value that so much. But deprivation, like being alone, being lonely, being by myself, being distant, I resented every time we would be pulled apart. And I know that it hurt him too. But I definitely made it a point and a scene to let you know that I was mad that our relationship was pretty much long distance, and it really hurt. I mean, when I say hurt, I mean my soul was bleeding. And then the way that we broke up was because, once again, my loneliness got the best of me. And I was depressed that he was choosing an activity over me. And I thought, you know that our time together is precious. And do something, you're doing something and you're not inviting me. And on top of that, you're not communicating to me that you're dumping your plans with me. And then you leave me waiting and you leave my mom waiting. I was pissed, you guys. I mean, I felt betrayed. I felt abandoned. I felt neglected. And you're doing this to a girl who already has issues with those things. Like my dad's abandonment, my mom's emotional neglect as I felt it, and all that. And then the only soul that I had, unfortunately, I depended too much on him, because the way I live my life is I just need one fucking person, just one, and I'm happy. Whereas there's people who need many different people. You don't necessarily need to be super close and tight with all these people. For some reason, abundance makes you feel better. I'm not that person. But yeah, and then I decided to dump him after that because of how fucking mad I was. He also made a comment calling me selfish, which he wasn't wrong, but it just hurt me that he was putting it like that. After that, I said, you know what, I don't want you anymore, whatever, leave me alone. And then he was like, dang, Z, that fucking hurts. And then after that, that was the end of my first boyfriend. But yeah, I nearly don't find his house because I thought, man, I'm not gonna remember. I recognized this gas station randomly. I had made 2 wrong turns. One turn, it led to a no outlet road, which there's so many of them out here. So I had to turn around, and then all of a sudden, I stopped at this gas station, the gas station I just told you guys about. And then I suddenly had a flash, and I remembered this little gas station. And I said, I remember this gas station as a marker for mom when she used to drive, and she was just really bad at like navigating. And she said, I'm never gonna forget the entrance to this place because I'm a market with this gas station. So thanks, Mom, for making that comment, and for me having an invincible memory. I was able to find his place, but I'm like, I'm here, I want to see it. When I see something, I relive things, and it helped, because some of these memories that I'm sharing with you guys, I really didn't have. It's not that I cannot summon them, but it would have taken me a bit. Where I seen the house, it was like, oh, now I'm going to go much farther. I'm gonna go to where my godfather used to live, and that from my hometown, it was actually far. I want to see if I can remember, I can find the place, and then what that place looks like now, because it was certainly getting developed as well. So this is gonna be so good. I think I already have like an hour of content so it's gonna take me forever to edit this video and to upload it, but who cares? What matters is I'm having a great day, I'm having a good time, and I'm by myself, which I don't usually feel this happy by myself, and I just want to cling to that feeling for as long as I can. Am I making this shit up, or do you guys ever feel like the weight of your car after you have refueled? You feel like the car is just fatter, heavier, like it has all this gas in it, so therefore you're going a little slower? Because I definitely feel some resistance. This bridge wasn't really here for very long when I left, so I forgot that I have to take that bridge so that I can stay on course to my hometown. Whoopsie! So now I missed my entrance, so I'm gonna have to either trust my instinct and find my way back, or do some kind of U-turn on a highway with a median that's blocked. I think I can stay here. I got a good feeling. I'm the daughter of a navigator. I can find my way. But yeah, you guys, I feel like the car, all that weight, like accelerating, takes me a little longer. I remember this street, unfortunately, because my high school is such a big deal. I was able to find my way back, and I was actually back on the road, the exact same road where my middle school is at. So just because I missed that, the bridge, the bridge, it wasn't a big deal. It just delayed me a little bit because I missed Main Street, but at the same time it works out because this, I can go back to where my third apartment, which happens to be the route that I remember and I wanted to take, and I envisioned taking to go to my godfather's place that he left. I got to see my school one more time. Bye! I still got my wallet diploma. I don't think I actually have it with me, but because it's useless. High school diplomas are kind of useless, but anyway. Networking is what gets you success. She trying to convince me to go to college? No! Something I definitely remember in this town is that there's no gray area between whether people start rolling immediately when the light turns green or if they just stay stopped. For the most part, people do well about beginning to roll instantly. But sometimes, at least in the city I'm at, what I see the most is people not moving when the light turns green. But like it irritates me to be behind someone who's not paying attention, because I'm an immediate mover because I'm paying attention. But when I'm behind someone who is delayed, that's all I want to do. I'm ready to fly because I'm driving and I'm paying attention, and cars are meant to be moving when the engine is running. Get it? Car runs, engine running. It's a work of a pair. What I like is that yellow lights last a long time, because that turn that I just made, the light was yellow, and it had been yellow for like 3 seconds already. Whereas in the city I'm at, some lights have like a 2-second yellow heads up, and I'm like, this is not very helpful. Okay, so I'm back here to my third apartment, and I remember a Friday in May, someone who used to go to my school, I knew his younger brother, but he died in a car wreck, and it was somewhere here. And I swear, the sirens that I heard that Friday night when I was on my phone with my boyfriend, whose birthday isn't the same day as when this happened at the time, I remember making a comment to him. I'm like, wow, there is a lot of sirens. A lot of sirens. It's weird. And then on Monday, I found out that this guy had died in a car wreck. He was driving, and he was coming from the place that I'm headed to, which is actually his birth town. So every time I drive by this little highway, I know this is where it happened somewhere, so like I always think about him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got MC Zam driving, facing the sun. Ow! Ow! So I must say that the people in this area make me proud in the sense that they are really good about moving to the right lane when someone is going faster than they are behind them. Because in my area, these a-holes will stick to the left lane even if they're going at the speed limit or not even going with the flow of traffic, and that mess pisses me off so much. But people here drive so much better, except for the absence of using blinkers. But these couple of people who I just passed, they definitely did use their blinker. But that makes me so proud. Like, you guys respect the road a little better. But I have seen a few crazy things, crazy drivers, but overall, this is definitely a less dangerous road. I think I'm the threat around here since this is not my territory anymore. Okay, I have made my turn to the area where my godfather used to live, but I don't remember the street name. I don't have an address. I also passed the entrance of my first house, my childhood home, but I decided to skip it. I don't need to go there because I really don't have that many memories of that place. I was only there for like a month. I was able to mark it with this one bridge that I like when you go down the highway, because it sounds like a plane to me, and as you accelerate, the pitch goes up. Aha! I found about a year and a half, 2 years. Yep, this is exactly it. Because I was always afraid of this brick fence. He moved out around the time that we left too. And he didn't spend that much time near the beach. It was like a couple of years. I don't remember the exact house, but I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. I've been in this house. Yep. Yeah, this is the house, because right here used to live an old lady. And guys, this particular spot, I needed to come here because this is the last place I was at with my ginger and white cat named Nico, who I have mentioned before on the channel. And he was my absolute cat husband. He was my favorite cat ever. But I lost him here. He just escaped. I was depressed over losing him for like 2-3 years. I felt so guilty. I felt like I wasn't a good owner. And another memory I have is that this was the place where I first pet a Siberian Husky. That when the car was brand new, the scratch, if I look for it, is probably still there. But the car was brand fucking new, and this husky just darted toward me because I happened to be outside, and he was like trying to like, he was getting on his hind legs and everything, trying to like cuddle with me, I guess, and everything. But anyway, I said, wow, this husky, da 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 da, I love him, da 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 da. I don't love that you vandalized my car, but whatever, I can't be mad at you. I returned here some weeks after Nico disappeared. I had very little hopes of finding him, but I maintained my hope. Okay, I see the name of this place. I remember now. How did I forget the name of this place? It just hurt because that cat was the only creature keeping me company. Eventually that cat arrived, and I was grateful to have him. But unfortunately, I ended up losing him. I had him for about 3 years. And Dusty has definitely outmatched him when it comes to A, time with me, and B, Nico was almost a year old when I first got him. Whereas Dusty, you guys saw him. I had him as a baby. He could fit in this hand. But yeah, I just felt terrible. I felt guilty. I was depressed when I lost Nico. At first, I felt, oh well, he left, whatever. It was when the days turned into weeks, turned into months. And this is around the time that I was moving to Kansas. I was going to take him with me. Man, I cried forever. But in a sense, the way that I got over losing him was, I told myself, if he would have embarked on that trip with us, he probably would have died. And the place that we were going to did not welcome pets. So then I thought, I'm gonna show up with my pet, knowing that he's not going to be welcome at this place. So in a sense, I feel like Nico escaping was like interference from fate or whatever it is that you wish to call it. But it still sucked, you know, because I lost my best friend. And then after that, I was not interested in any kind of pet until I got Nero's antisocial ass, which you guys, if you go far back into my channel, maybe you'll find some content with him. But he was antisocial, he wasn't fun, he didn't like to be pet, and that shit hurt me. I took it personal because I thought, I'm a cuddly, needy for love person. Fuck you, cat. Anyway, eventually I got Dusty, and then Dusty arrived at the time when I did not need a clingy ass animal. And that's exactly what Dusty was. Dusty is who I needed between Nico and Nero, my antisocial cat. I feel bad for Dusty because now his personality, which is what I needed at the time, is incompatible with mine. And I feel so guilty that I'm not there for Dusty as much as I should be. but it doesn't mean that I don't love him. It's just not a good time. Nico, maybe I'll do a full-blown video with him and show you guys some pictures, some of the best pictures of him that I have. But yeah, that was one of the greatest pains in my life. I wish I could tell you and remember the day that I got over his loss. I might have journaled about it. I'm definitely not gonna look. But I'm just happy that I found peace with that matter. But yeah, that's always going to be the memory attached to this place. Of course, my godfather being there. We have a ton of memories in that place. But losing Nico. A couple of times that I visited this place, I want to say I came back to this place 2 more times. I of course had that hope that maybe I'll find him. His coat is gonna be dirty, he's gonna be fat, he's gonna have arthritis, he's gonna be diabetic, but at least he'll be alive and I'll see him and he'll remember me and recognize me and all that. So you know, I still held on, but I had to keep it real. It wasn't gonna happen. And I've been dropping the ball navigating this place. I need to go to the bathroom. But I didn't really see very clearly how I get back on the highway from this area. I remember that when I used to live closer to this area and visit with frequency, even though I was strictly a passenger, this would still confuse me. And I see that to this day, it still does confuse me. So I'm going to do some kind of a U-turn here. Now I'm going to head over to the Walmart that I used to live at. But I really need the bathroom. I should have gone when I was in my hometown, which I thought about, but I said, it'll be okay. But I definitely gotta go. It's getting a little painful. Now you guys don't need to know that, but I just want to show you guys that yes, indeed, I am a human being and not just a digital product. What? Good, how are you?
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
Hey, could you please help me get something to eat, please, with a couple dollars? I haven't ate all day. Please help me.
I don't have any cash,
Can
honey.
you check?
No,
Please help me.
I don't have a checkbook or anything. I just have cards.
Cards?
Yeah.
Could you go to the ATM? Please help me. I have a 2-year-old. And he haven't ate all day. I'll go with you.
Do you know where? Because I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
from
I'll
here.
go with you. Yeah. Can I ride in the back? I'll show you. I'll show you. I don't hurt nobody. I don't have no guns on me.
You know what? Give me a second. I think I might have something. I should have laundry money.
Appreciate it.
I'm not sure how much is in there, but I hope it helps.
All right, thank you. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Wow, I had no idea that I was recording while that happened. It just happened and caught me off guard, but you guys heard that exchange. See, she seemed sincere. I'm like, I'm sorry, I just cannot allow an absolute stranger in my car. If it were me, I know my intentions are good. I would want someone to help me, but I'm out here and I'm by myself, and I'm sorry, but no. But it's crazy that I happened to be recording. I just saw her kind of like gesturing at me, and she had stopped another car. For a moment I thought that maybe she ran that little park that I turned around at, and that she was maybe telling me that I was going the wrong way, because that happened to me once. I was confused and there was a very subtle sign that said wrong way or something, and there were no arrows on the ground or anything. She seemed sincere. She was crying and she was like desperate. I know that look of desperation in someone's eyes when I see it. So that cash that I handed her happened to be cash that my brother gave me many months ago, and I said, I'm gonna keep it in there, and just in case I need laundry money, because sometimes I do need laundry money and I forget to get cash back. But this time I've been pretty good. I'm sorry, but I cannot give people rides. I just can't. And if it happens to me, what I would want someone to do for me in a situation like that is like, please remember where I'm at. But also, I don't really like people kind of compromising me. So like, say she was like, can you go to an ATM, da 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 da, like, sweetie, you don't know my situation. Maybe I'm secretly like you, which at some point I was back when I was homeless. I'm like, yeah, you might see me driving a car and stuff, but my bank account is like in the negatives. But at least she didn't try touching my car or any of that, which in the past I have seen people do. And then I lose my shit and I drive off and we're done. I hope things work out for her. But yeah, I just all of a sudden I randomly remembered that I think it's only like $3 in that envelope. But even if it's more than that, whatever it is, I definitely ain't missing it and I'm not needing it. Okay. Holy shit, the Harris Tita I used to shop with my godfather has been tore up and rebuilt. Or it says it's under construction. It has this big sign on it. Okay. And then I remember that Dick's Sporting Good because my godfather described that store to me is like a cancer. And it's true. He would buy so many sports clothes. You guys think I buy a lot of outerwear and sports clothes, and this was before I had a severe leggings addiction. But he was always there just buying clothes or gear. He used to be a basketball coach. And he also could play tennis and stuff, so he was always all kinds of geared up. And he always said, Dick's Sporting Goods, that store's like a cancer to me. He spent so much money there. It's kind of like me spending a lot of money on leggings. I should tell him that. You know what my cancer is? Leggings. Okay, so this Walmart I'm going to, I remember, used to have their own little cafe area. Like, you could buy definitely pretzels, pizza, and I forget what other things. I don't know if it was actually run by Walmart or if it was some kind of third-party company renting that space and having food. So I want to see if that's still there, but it's possible it isn't. And I recognize this highway too. I'm like, wow, I'm back on this highway. I can't believe it. About this place, I really don't have that many memories except stopping by with my godfather, but he was more of a Harris Teeter guy more than a Walmart guy. Like, I honestly can tell you, I probably went to Walmart with him just 2 times. That's all I can remember. And it was to buy me stuff, like say my toothbrush and stuff when I stayed over. And then another occasion was we were looking for a supply for his aquarium that the pet shop did not have. So we decided to come here to see if we could find an alternative. What's interesting about revisiting a place after such a long time is that it sort of feels like you're trapped in a time capsule a little bit, or more like the place was trapped in your memories in a time capsule, because this Walmart looks almost exactly as I remember, minus what I mentioned earlier in my hometown about the pickup stuff. Now, the pickup stuff outside in here is much more elaborate. I didn't even notice the one in my hometown. Also, I look at cars in the parking lot and the cars are modern, even though the surroundings really aren't, unless there has been a building that's freshly built up. Like say there used to be trees in that little space, they chopped that, and there's some development going on. That building is new, and the occasional building with solar panels, such as the one that I'm looking at right now. It's crazy, because some cars, like say my car, it only began to exist a couple of years after I left, even though I had been here. And then the redesign, which is that next year of my car, 2014, that's when that Corolla got like a redesign. That car didn't exist at all the last time that I was here. So it's like, I gotta get with the times. So that Walmart, shadow of itself. It's your pretty standard looking Walmart. Nothing special about it. Now I'm going to take this one road, which, yeah, girl knows her stuff. I know that numbers that are even run east and west, and then numbers that run odd are north and south. So this road that I'm about to take is labeled with odd numbers, and I know which direction is north. So I am hoping that based on the position that I am at geographically, this road is going to be just as scenic with endless trees as usual, but it will take me almost straight home. And I'll let you guys know if I was right. I haven't eaten anything real since that chicken biscuit I had at McDonald's before I decided, you know what, I want to venture out. So I'm not hungry. I have been sedentary all day sitting here driving. It's been, let's see, 10:30, 11, 12, 1, 2. It's about to be 5 hours since I've been out. So let's head back because I gotta remember it gets dark early and I'm not the most confident driver when it's dark out there. And this is deer season too, so fuck deers. So I was a little wrong in the sense that that road is not the road that I thought it was. And I felt like I was making a mistake when I avoided this one city that I know about that has its own little road that might make it even more straightforward, but I decided to not listen to my gut. What ended up happening is it brought me back to my hometown, and I'm pretty much going to take the same road that I took to get here in the first place, which is not bad. It's just that it'll add about 25 extra minutes to my commute than it should have, which is fine. I mean, I ain't in a hurry. I got about 15 hours or 16 before my next shift starts, I think. So I'm alright. So I just drove by the last apartment that I lived at before I moved out, and coincidentally, there was this bus that started flashing its yellow lights to stop at my apartment complex. I wonder if that is the high school bus, which seems plausible because around this time is when I used to get home in the evenings. So another flash of the past. But the bus is definitely different. My bus had 2 digits and this one had 3 digits. But I don't expect it to remain the same after like all these years. But interesting. So for food, I stopped at a neighboring city that I frequent. And there's this place that I have been going to that I haven't reviewed yet, but I haven't forgotten. I've just been a little lazy. They got pretty good stuff. Kind of unique, but the menu is so basic that I should technically be making all that at home, but I'm kind of lazy. What I love is that I'm I don't know it by distance, honestly, but I'm like some 17 minutes away from close to where I live, I guess the city, and I'm back to the same fuel level that I was pretty much when I left. So I still gotta get gas again, but I'll leave it for Friday, which Friday is usually my official refueling date. I'm off on that day and my car's getting serviced, so that's the day. I made it home. I spent almost, I didn't notice what time it was, but between 7-8 hours. All I have left to say is I'm grateful that I did this. Maybe this was the random impulse that I was getting for a few weeks now. Anytime I would be off and drive far away. I wish I would have done it a little sooner, but I think that this timing was perfect because last week it would have been not too appropriate since I was processing so many things. And then the week before, I just didn't want to deal with holiday traffic and stuff. It would have been dangerous. But in conclusion, this trip was pretty meaningful because it's like I was able to look at my, I guess, origin with brand new eyes. Like, it's amazing how a gap with something can either make something better or make it suffer. You definitely don't want to go a long time without exercising or practicing something because you will become a little rusty. But with a little bit of practice again, I guess you can recover your skill. There are some things, especially emotional things, that I feel need a lot of time. And even when you're not actively thinking about it, something is still processing. I have developed a vast appreciation for that process kind of being like bodily performance. You don't have to think about breathing and stuff. It happens automatic. I'm glad that this stuff happens automatically too. Like I don't have to be consciously thinking about, I gotta process this event and make sure that I'm healing from it, this, that, and the other. It happens when you're not conscious about it. But it was nice to see all those places and see that the town has progressed a little bit with some things that I saw were added. But interestingly, since it's more of a country town, it was weird to see people being kind of like chill. And what I mean by that is I get told a lot that I need to slow down, even in this city. But then I'm thinking, no, why are you so dead? Why are you lacking so much energy? Why are you so tired, whether you work a lot or not? Where's your passion, your energy, your desire for life? I don't know what to call it. In a rural place, people, I guess, do value that quietness. Or maybe you have no choice but to be quiet because there's no one living out there. It's nothing but farmland, enormous farmland. But at any rate, it's usually people who grew up in settings like that who tell me that. And then me personally, just because I was like brought up in a place like that, that was kind of quiet for the most part, it doesn't mean that I myself don't have energy. But I can see how at some point that type of energy or lack thereof just rubs off on you. This helps me kind of conclude some things. And I guess now I just want to focus on rooting myself in a new place, which I should have been doing this whole time, but I realized that I really wasn't. The thing that I appreciate the most about this little trip of mine, this little excursion, is that I could really see how my life changed. Even if it doesn't feel like it did, even if it feels like I'm still stuck in a lot of ways, the very basics that have changed have been meaningful, which had I not gone on this trip, I probably wouldn't be appreciating as much as I do now. And my favorite, best example to provide would be what I mentioned earlier about having a car and the freedom that comes with it. Responsibility as well, because cars are expensive. It really is a tool, a weapon, a privilege. And I discovered a side of it that I really hadn't. Like, I was aware that a car changes someone's life, but I didn't know just how deep and significant that change can be because of my origins. I'm really proud of this. I'm proud that it occurred to me to record this because I knew that I was going to have possibly a major epiphany. And also that lady asking for the money, that was something trippy. I stopped recording thinking that I wasn't recording because I was going to tell you guys about what happened, but I completely forgot that I was recording already and I had forgotten to pause it. It's a cool, interesting day. All right, guys, well, that's it for me. If you watched all of this, thanks a lot, because this means a lot to me. And I feel like I haven't been good about putting it into words, but maybe another time I'll be able to revisit this and be like, so guys, one of the things that I didn't mention that I meant to, that occurred to me now is da-da-da-da-da. You guys know how I do. But yeah. Also, guys, I'm extremely proud of my navigation skills. I used my GPS for nothing. Absolutely nothing. 100% off the top of my head. I went to and from. This was good. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.